Monica could cut off one of her arms and demand a blowjob afterward, and she'd do it with a smile on her face. So I've been watching coverage of the new Sonic the Hedgehog Project 06 demo, and since I don't have a Steam Deck just yet, I unfortunately can't play it myself at the moment. And if there's one character that I really like in that series as a whole, it's Amy Rose. Before y'all get on my neck about liking Amy, Sonic Team really isn't fucking with ages anymore. So just let me cook, please. Y'all aren't gonna let me, but just to make you all feel better, any art that I request to be used in this video will be of a very older Amy. Just see that as the kind of Amy that I would be crushing on. Though, low-key, I've loved Amy since I was a kid. I'll be real, this is kind of just an introduction to the rebooted series in general. I'm mostly trying to get a feel of how I want this series to work. This series might not get a crap ton of views, but a recent stream of Zeta's, as well as some talks with my friends Jet and Dorito, reminded me that my love for waifus is something that makes me unique. It's something that I enjoy, and no one made me like them. It's something I came up with myself. And recently I've been doing some soul searching when it comes to hobbies and media. This series is here to stay, no matter what happens. I think the simplest place to start is back home, where my love for waifus began, and that was back in Sonic Heroes. Even though this isn't where Amy started, something about her spunky attitude and hot-headed nature just made me feel some kind of way. Being able to keep up with Sonic in not just the romantic sense, but also kick as much butt as him in some of the games, really had me gravitate towards her. Blaze is awesome, but she's kind of one of the boys to me. Well, most
say suck right now!
Nah, Amy is just really appealing to a guy like me. She's one of those girls that could be cute as hell, but she knows what she wants and doesn't let anyone fuck with her. As far as her story goes, it's fairly simple from what I remember. She's captured by Metal Sonic in Sonic CD, and Sonic has to rescue her. Her origins are pretty simple, but she's grown in several ways since then. She even got her own little sister in Cream the Rabbit, which is basically the female version of Tails, but take away the intelligence and add about 10 times the cute. Cream follows Amy around a lot, and while Amy isn't always doing the smartest things, I'd argue it's safer with her as opposed to Sonic. She also has Big the Cat as a friend, and while he's been a huge meme since his inception,
oh shit, for real?
I'd think twice about screwing with her because of him, and vice versa. Who you keep in your company is a good choice of character. Since CD, she's grown and shrank in different ways. In the adventure days, her goals were to become independent, as well as keep up with the boys and help out in any way she can. Not by showing them up, but by just kicking ass or using her wits to help out. She could teach modern media how to write female characters because this pink-haired princess is better developed than most Disney heroines. One thing always stayed constant, however, her love for Sonic. She got a bit less obnoxious about it as games came out, but she always mentioned it at least once. And I don't think there's a single wrong thing with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with having a crush. For some reason, this is seen as negative, but it shows loyalty. There's one other character I can think of that has an unshakable love for another character to this degree, and that's Yayoi Dojima. Don't even get me started on Yayoi Dojima.
Dojima をやったのはお前なのかい？あんた誰かをかばってるね。誰なんだい？一体誰がやったんだい？
Aru, okay, got it. No, there's no change in the plan. Bye. 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 Lừa. Bye. Lừa. Bye. Lừa. Bye.
You want an attraction that's unhealthy? Yayoi Dojima has fucking Stockholm Syndrome with how obsessed she is over Sohei Dojima. Nika could cut off one of her arms and demand a blowjob afterward, and she'd do it with a smile on her face. And it's hella just lampshaded so intentionally that it pissed me off and made me have to pause the game and process just how dumb it all was. But if you want to complain about a bitch being cock drunk beyond repair, Yayoi is the one you need to be worried about, not Amy. After 2006, she doesn't show up nearly as much, and while she does mention liking Sonic here and there, and even wanting to date him, I definitely think that that was something I personally preferred. Her love for Sonic was still there, but it doesn't overshadow her as a character here. Unfortunately, her lack of appearances annoyed me. There are fans that argue that Sonic has too many supporting characters, but I'm convinced that this is the only franchise that ever gets that complaint. There are plenty of other games and franchises with a plethora of reoccurring characters where the fans would be livid if they didn't appear. You think people always ask for Juri to come back because she has any agency in the overarching narrative of Street Fighter? Sure, she has some agency, but I'd argue that Cammy White has more agency than her, and she was revealed quite a while after Juri was. Newsflash, it's because Juri is a likable character and fan-favorite characters will always sell products. Asuka Kazama is probably my favorite female character in Tekken, and she hasn't had any agency in the overarching narrative since T5, yet she's always one of the first to be announced because people like her. So fuck off with the Sonic has too many characters garbage, it's literally incorrect. Back to Amy though. Once we get farther into the modern and meta eras, Amy became a shell of her former self. And while I don't know what you'd call this era of Sonic since Frontiers, because Frontiers definitely does not feel like the meta era at all, I'd probably call it something closer to the post-meta era. I'm sure someone is going to go into the comments and correct me. Before this, all she really did was fawn over Sonic, bully Knuckles, since he's been a complete joke throughout both the modern and meta eras.
Oh god.
Or she's just kind of been there to exist. I kid you not, in the meta era, Amy could basically be taken out of the story and it would change very little, if not nothing at all. This includes the Sonic Boom stuff, which is definitely a part of the meta era. Like, what exactly was she supposed to be? A hyper-feminist that had a secret crush on Sonic and replaced Cream with Sticks? Fucking Sticks. Like, Sticks is cute and all, but I never liked the idea of Sticks basically being Cream's replacement in Boom, and while the show was great, there was this disconnect that just rubbed me the wrong way. But that's an entire thing in itself, and I won't fuck with that unless a patron asks me to. Frontiers Amy I really liked. I'm also going to put TSR Amy in here since the characters don't seem to change much between that game and Frontiers. She still held on to her crush on Sonic, but this is as subtle as it gets. She only really acts on her impulses when the day is saved, and even then, she holds on to her independence while still choosing to be girly and delve into her infatuation with romance. I think I see a lot of myself in her, because the world feels like it's telling me to move sometimes, telling me to think and act in certain ways, and sometimes, like with Amy, I feel like I have no choice but to listen. But post-meta Amy, choosing to remain true to herself while also holding on to her own sense of adventure and desires really inspires me. I know I'm going to seem silly because I'm over here getting inspired by a hedgehog, but I don't care. You can learn a lot from fiction, and while this series was made for kids, the Sonic series has taught me a lot. And while there are people, and even characters, that will change on you out of nowhere with little warning and you're just expected to deal with it, I find a lot of comfort in those that don't change themselves but simply grow and hold on to their ambitions evermore. And that's why I love Amy Rose. Alright everybody, that's the end of the video today. I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons, Zeta Slow, Retro Matt 54, Crimson King 03. You guys are the ones that are pushing me to create great content. So, yeah, big shout out to them. If you enjoyed what you watched, please be sure to like the video, comment what you thought about the video down below, and don't forget to subscribe if you are new. If you want to actually determine what goes up on my channel, head on over to my Patreon, where you can read up all of the different things that you can get from the different tiers, as well as having me react to things or having me play all kinds of crazy games. But I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Stay tuned, everybody.